DeShaun Watson situation. Fox Sports' Jay Glazer reported on Sunday that the Texans have softened their stance regarding the expectations for a DeShaun Watson trade.
While we went into this season, the Texans really were not fielding phone calls. They really weren't. They weren't open to trade talks unless somebody was going to give them a ridiculous trade offer, more than 6 draft picks. They've already been offered 3 1s and 3 3s. Wanted more of that. However, I was told that this past week their stance started to soften a little bit with that. The interesting part, you look down at Miami with Tua going down. That'd be an obvious trade partner.
So he also he was a little more vague yesterday. He tweeted, "Keep your eyes on this situation." Hashtag scoopage. The Dolphins have reportedly, well, the owner of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross, reportedly wants DeShaun Watson.
Yeah.
And the sticking point has not been the situation, rather what the Texans want in a trade offer, which is reportedly 3 firsts and 2 seconds, which I think is egregious considering the legal situation that DeShaun Watson's in. And we don't even know if he's going to be able to play next year. But as is, this is what's happening because, as we talk about all the time, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win in this league.
Yeah.
Which is why Chris Sims said on Pro Football Talk that Philadelphia is in the mix for DeShaun Watson as well. And the owner has reportedly given Howie Roseman the green light to make the deal if the deal is right.
Yes, if I had Tua, Jalen Hurts, or DeShaun Watson, I would want DeShaun Watson. Now, you and I are both have our questions about where this goes. And there's stuff happening in the back scenes right now. And by the way, teams have investigators. Teams are trying to figure out if we can make this deal, what are the chances that he can play at least by next year? But
you don't have an answer on it because the investigation is still going on.
Right.
So the NFL is not going to intervene in an ongoing investigation. That's not their thing. And while they are doing their own investigation right now, they don't have any answers yet. So this is a huge risk, which is why if the Texans want to move him, 3 firsts and 2 seconds when you don't know if he's going to be able to play next year. If you're a GM, you can't do that. Even if the owner gives you the green light, it's just an impossible situation. Also, Watson has a no-trade clause. So if he only wants to go to Miami, he can veto the trade if he doesn't want to go to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And the other thing to pay attention to is November 2nd, because any deal for Watson that will happen before March 2022 needs to happen before November 2nd. So if this is going to happen this year, it's got to happen basically within the next month. So the undefeated Panthers face the Cowboys this Sunday, and Troy Aikman, former Cowboy quarterback and Hall of Famer, said Carolina is going to have a tough task at hand and gave some advice for how to slow down Dallas. He said, if you're an inferior team, and I think a lot of teams who are going to come and play Dallas are going to be inferior to them, then the best way in order to get into the fourth quarter with a chance to win, which is all you're hoping for, you want to minimize the offensive snaps. The more snaps they have, the better chance they have of blowing you out and scoring points. So he suggested that the Panthers need to try and shorten the game by controlling the clock and keep them from making big plays in the passing game, causing them to commit to running the ball. They do have the number 4 rushing offense, the Cowboys do, but Carolina currently leads the NFL in rushing defense, giving up just 2.6 yards per carry, and they rank 2nd in total points allowed. So this should be a pretty interesting game this weekend.
Troy's point is shrink the game against the Cowboys because they're going to score against everybody. By the way, that is easier said than done because their defense now is much faster and much more athletic. And what their defense really is, noticeably, is better in the back end. Like the Dallas's secondary was a complete liability the last 3 years. It is no longer a liability.
No, they're a different defense, and they deserve credit for that. Their Cowboys are favored by 4.5 on Fox Bet.
I love Dallas. It's my bet of the week.
You love Dallas?
My bet of the week.
Wow.
I know.
I would have thought for sure you would take Carolina.
Only thing that concerns me is Carolina played on Thursday, so they have extra time. That's the only thing that concerns me. But I think Dallas is one of those teams we're going to look in 7 weeks and go, they're a little better than we think. I think their defense, and Dak is fine, but I think their defense, the back end, is like way better than we get yet. We need to see about 4 or 5 more games. I think the back end of their defense now, I think they've found one of the top 5 corners in the NFL. Diggs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So following their first practice together as teammates, Russell Westbrook dubbed Anthony Davis the ultimate weapon and vowed to help maximize the big man's impact for the Lakers this season.
Yeah, I mean, AD is a special talent, and, obviously the whole world knows it, and, the league knows it. One of a kind. There's nobody like him that can do everything that he's able to do at his size, and my job is to make sure I continue to push him each day, each practice, each game, so he can be at the top of his game each and every night.
I always like watching when someone's giving someone else flowers and
I
they're
know.
sitting next to them.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep a straight face.
By the way,
Can't smile.
anybody notice how happy Russell Westbrook seems?
He is.
Because he's in his hometown.
He
He's around his parents.
I can't wait to watch Russ this year.
No, I think we both said this. I think we both said that there are some things. His game has not aged particularly well because it's now a shooting league, and that's not his strength. He's more of an athlete. But there is I got a lot of pushback when everybody said, "Oh, you like him now because he's a Laker." I said, "No. His role with the Lakers now is not to be a 1 or a 2.
Right.
His role is minutes, enthusiasm, energy, burst. What I'm asking him now, I'm not asking him to be a 250-inning pitcher.
Right.
I'm asking him to be big in certain spots."
And with this being an older roster, that's exactly what
Yes.
they need for this long season.
Yes. Play hard. Guys that give you everything they have, 75 games a year. He works for this moment. Like in Oklahoma City, it's like, you're the man. You take the last big shot. That's not what I ever thought he was for. I always really thought if they'd have kept Harden, Durant, Westbrook, and Harden would have figured out a way to work. With Durant being the primary shooter, Harden being the lead and distributor, and Westbrook being a hyper athlete. Now, Russell may have not liked that and left, but I would have loved to have seen Harden, KD, and Westbrook stay together for 10 years because I think smart basketball players would eventually figure out, like you kind of figure out where I work and where I don't. And they moved off to Harden, and it was never the same.
Well, I think that Harden last year was a great example of what can happen when you get in a different situation and buy into what you guys are trying to accomplish.
Absolutely.
Because I was so I did not know if that was going to work there. I was so impressed with Harden last year.
I thought it was
and
great.
I think that that's what you're going to see from Russell Westbrook this year with the Lakers.
And that's exactly right. Harden actually last year became a very good distributor. Always had it, never used it, gave us a new weapon.
Yeah.
Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd.